I'm going to start by saying something that will upset a lot of people, especially those who call themselves Christians. Well, Christianity is dead. Not dying, not losing ground, not under attack. It's dead. And before anyone comes forward and start blaming the atheist, antichrist, Hollywood movies and music and plus social media, we can be honest, at least for once in our lives, Christians have killed it. Not with violence, not with hate, but with fear and hypocrisy. Christianity did not die because the prayer was removed from schools or Islam became popular in the world. Christianity died when the truth left the church, because Christianity did not collapse under any persecution, but collapsed under comfort. My name is Chris Makunda, and welcome to today's episode. It's showtime.
It's not funny, Ed.
In the book The Gay Science, which was written by German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche, he said, God is dead, and we have killed him. And during his time, when he wrote this book, he received a lot of backlash from Christians. Well, can we blame them, the Christians? Certainly not. Because that is the only way they have left with to defend Jesus and to, destroy those who are trying to open their eyes to ways leaking. And while I was preparing the material for this episode, I asked myself that, what if your pastor saw this episode, I'm sure he will stand up in the altar on Sunday and giving me backlash like those Nietzsche received during his time. Well, before your pastor does that, you may start with me. Why am I saying that? Christianity is dead, and Christians have killed it. Christians have killed Christianity with the gospel of comfort. As we all know, in the beginning, Christianity required sacrifice, but now it requires nothing. Nothing at all. We have changed. Each one take up his own cross and put, do what makes you happy. Churches giving comfort teachings to avoid offending donors. Pastor avoiding preaching bitter truth so as not to reduce the number of believers. And the sin is preached gently. We have created a fake Jesus. A Jesus who does not rebuke, does not get angry, does not turn the tables over. A Jesus who does not command repentance. A Jesus who is there to agree and affirm with your feelings and not to change your soul. A Jesus whose presence is there to affirm and agree with your lifestyle, your politics, and your pleasures. Well, that's not a Jesus. That's a brand. I'm repeating again. That's not Jesus. That is a brand. Christianity has become like a content, and those pastors have become like content creators. Everybody comes up with their own content. This one brings clay. Some bring water. Some brings oil. I saw a guy who was shaving women private parts. And the other one was sucking women titties, as he was saying, I'm curing you. That is the Christianity of today. They all come up with their content, collecting their money, disappear. Growing up in Africa, we were told a story about a man who banged nearly 1,000 of his followers in Uganda. His name was Kibwetere. Well, that was not science. It was an art mixed with faith, accompanied by ignorance. Do you know how stupid you must be to think that clay can bring you success? All those theatrical, magical, voodoo nonsense can bring you success without physically harming yourself. You need to wake up, you need to ask yourself these questions. Now, Christians have become the people who want to be sold success and good prospects without engaging. And that is why it has been so easy for fools like Pastor Joshua, who claimed that in 2025 there will be a rapture and his believers will go to heaven and leave us, the sinners, here on earth. Well, I guess they were sinners too, because we are all here. Mr. Ibonoa from Ghana said that there will be a flood, and God told him that to build an ark. Well, people went and gave him donations. Millions of people. I mean, millions of money. Only to be seen with a new Mercedes-Benz. Guess what? In Swahili we say, wajinga ndio waliwao. Well, have you seen people who are worshipping Prophet Elijah? They're adults, grown men, grown women, bowing their head down to a guy like me. The Bible says, my people are perishing due to lack of knowledge. And that is what we're seeing today. Churches have become the place where you can be milked to the last drop. Instead of preaching gospel, they found themselves as they're working in circles or blood curdling runs. You know what I'm saying? It is common nowadays to go to a bar and come back with a penny, and to go to a church and come back with a debt. That is Christianity. The modern pastor dresses like gays, theatrical services, raining while choirs perform like nightclubs. Totally disgrace. Christianity has become like a cult nowadays. Also, Christians have killed Christianity in the silence of moral where there's evil. Where were the Christians when marriage was changed without opposition? We all know that the nature of marriage is between a man and a woman who are going to form or create a family. When society decided that a man and a man can get married, Christians blessed the idea by being surprised. And even when society decided that, a woman and a woman can get married, Christians blessed the idea by staying silent. Well, I guess they didn't want to oppress women. They wanted to be equal. When children were sexualized according to criteria of progress and globalization, Christians stayed silent. Where were the Christians when the truth was distorted? When biological reality became controversial, Christians stayed silent. Well, supposedly, someone was born with a penis. And then when they turn 15, they say that, I'm starting to feel like I'm a woman now. Where were the Christians when the whole world was applauding for this? Where were the Christians? They chose to stay silent. Now, I'm telling you, they stayed silent not because they were few, no, but they lacked courage. The early churches overcame lions and crosses, but modern society or modern Christianity cannot even survive Twitter criticism. It's a damn shame. Well, the church has sold courage in exchange for likes, faith, and social acceptance. Christianity shouldn't be a Sunday and few hours lifestyle, but an everyday lifestyle. Now, this might be hard for you to hear, but Christians have also killed Christianity by having fear of men over the fear of God. In Proverbs 9:10 say that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of the wisdom. But modern Christianity has replaced that fear with the fear of losing tax exemption, hiding behind the word that says, what that word is, submit to every authority established by men, including render to Caesar the things that are Caesar's or Caesar, and to God the things that are God's. Churches has completely stopped preaching justice and denounced oppression. Pride was seen as expressing yourself. Abortion was called healthcare. Oppression was called, social benefits. In the Bible, Isaiah 5:20, it said that, woe to those who call evil good and good evil. But modern church said that we don't want to get involved in politics. I'm telling you this. Morality isn't political, but silence is. Now, as we go to the final nail in the coffin, the Christians killed Christianity when Christians left authority. You might be wondering why this guy is saying this. I'm telling you, Christianity was used to create laws, cultures, family, and conscience of the people. When Christians separated themselves from it, something else stepped forward. When Christians stopped defining marriages, governments did. Now, we have same-sex marriages. When Christians stopped advocating for children's, activists took that place. Now, kids can change their gender, let alone their nature. When Christians stopped preaching the truth, the schools wrote the new truth that family can be between a father and a kid, or mother and a mother and a kid. That is what we call modern family. Well, Jesus said that people will hate you for my name's sake. Well, the current pastors saw that this Jesus will never fill the church. So, they replaced him. Current pastors are afraid to speak the truth so that they cannot be seen as politicians. But politics did not invade the church. The church ran away from politics. People say Christianity should not get involved in politics. Well, you can tell that to people who fight to legalize abortion. You can tell that to those who want gay marriages to be recognized and practiced in church. What about those who suppress human rights? Those who kill every day? The war in the name of God. Politics is the moral stream, and Christianity used to be the stream. When Christians stopped preaching morals, politics filled the gap. And now Christians are complaining about the culture, the moral of the truth that they themselves refuse to fight for. Well, my dear, you cannot run away from the battlefield and later cry about the winner. Doesn't work like that. Now, let's go back to Africa. Here in Africa, churches are filled every Sunday. Pastors are respected in the eyes of the people. And God, well, we preach God openly. But there's the question that no one wants to ask. does Christianity create the morals of the people and its leaders? Or do you live in the same false existing morals? Think about that. Because while African leaders are talking about values of our morals, Western money and NGOs and other institutions are quietly introducing new ideology. Well, not with guns, but with education, aid money, and fundings. African churches are silent because they are afraid of losing donors. They are afraid of international pressure. While African churches preach to their believers about God, justice, and responsibility to their countries, I can say that the only place that politics and Christianity should collide or should meet is in the administration of 10 commandments of God. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. But politicians in Africa have been received with great respect and cheers in churches after breaking these commandments, while pastors bow their heads in humility. Well, that's bad. The only place in Africa for politicians and leaders to flee after destroying, killing, stealing, and lying is in the house of worship. Is certainly they are being received with honorable mentions and given place to speak in the holy altar. This is sad. I'm telling you, this is sad. Pastors have become motivational speakers. Bishops are the lies of the government. And few fraudsters telling people that God called them to be prophets. While out here, they are acting like God called them to make profits. Now the world has discovered Christianity is naked. The nakedness of the world. Church leaders are going to submit to all this evil without rebuking them and telling them the truth. Those politicians, they are fearing the removal of tax exemptions and the lack of funds from various events. We are building the church. Okay, I'm going to give you 50 million shillings. That is what they are afraid to lose. It has gone further for some bishops and pastors telling their followers that they should feel pity for the political leaders, failing to know that mercy without truth is an abandonment. Hear me out. True mercy is to rebuke sins, oppression of justice, and warn them the danger of what they are doing to their citizens. That, to me, is true mercy. If you are saying that you are being called or you have been called to lead people, to save people, to take them to the right direction, start with these politicians. Don't tell people to feel pity for them. Mercy without truth is abandonment. The early church was at war. The apostles argued with kings. Of course, they were thrown to fiery furnaces, and some of them were boiled in barrels, and some beheaded. But the modern church has decided to be neutral. Listen, you don't get neutrality when truth retreats. You get replacement. And replacement does not ask permission. The law takes the place of the God you left. And hear the truth that history never breaks. When Christianity retreats, authority expands. You don't get freedom, you get regulations. Speech is controlled. Education is suppressed. And faith is only tolerated only if it is silent. And we are heading there now. In European, well, these people are fucked up because some pastors are being investigated in their sermons. In Canada, parents are being persecuted for opposing the gender that's chosen by their kids. In England, it is not allowed to pray in public or read the Bible. This didn't happen overnight. It happened because Christians believed silence was safer than the truth. Now, what's next? For Africa and the rest of the world, Christianity will not be revived by big worshiping concerts or famous pastors, services that gets lots of views online, and church businesses like schools, hospital, banks, you name it. Those are the signs of decay and not strength of Christianity. When the aim was to preach, when the aim was to make people live together in harmony, to show people the way to heaven, and you start building schools, hospital, banks, and you put lots of effort in it, that is the sign of decay. What is next? True Christians will disappear. The right Christians will separate. The counterfeit and modern Christianity will completely separate and collapse. And this is no longer, a new thing, because according to various research organizations like Pew and NPR, they have confirmed that more than 20% of the people raised in various religions have stopped believing in those religions, while the number of Christians is more than 8.5%. And now pretty soon we are going to see they are creating this new Christianity or new religion. Is called one God, one religion. Some sort of new world order. Yes. And what will remain? A small church, a hated church, a persecuted church, which will cost something to exist, like the early church existed since the beginning. Now, the ultimate truth is Christianity is not dead because the world has rejected it. Christianity is dead because Christians stopped believing the truth. And future belongs to those who decide. You can't argue with that. It is better to be rejected by the world than to be accepted by lies. My name is Chris Makunda. Until next time.